When life suddenly shatters your sense of normal, the words you hold on to can mean the difference between despair and hope. Imagine being told you have cancer, a word so heavy it stops the air in your lungs, and in that frozen moment, someone grabs your hand and tells you, I know people who have gone through this, and the one thing they all share, they're still here. That sentence, simple but powerful, became a lifeline for Clea Shearer, the co-founder of the home edit and Netflix star, at the darkest hour of her life. And those words came from someone who knew the pain firsthand, Hoda Kotb. Clea Shearer, 43 at the time, had built a career on organization and control. She was the bubbly, sharp, and stylish co-host of the popular Netflix series Get Organized with the Home Edit, where closets and kitchens were transformed into picture-perfect havens of order. But in March 2022, her world collapsed into chaos when she was diagnosed with stage 2 invasive mammary carcinoma, an aggressive form of breast cancer. The diagnosis came like a lightning strike. Her days of arranging shelves and color-coding pantries were suddenly replaced with endless doctor visits, treatment plans, and decisions no one ever wants to face. In those first days, fear wrapped around her like a fog. But she picked up the phone and called Hoda Kotb, the beloved Today show host, who herself had faced breast cancer years earlier. Clea has since revealed that Hoda was one of the very first people she confided in about her diagnosis. She remembers sitting there, tears streaming down, hands trembling, her voice breaking as she tried to say the words out loud, I have breast cancer. On the other end of the line, Hoda didn't rush to fill the silence with platitudes or statistics. Instead, she listened, and then she gave Clea the kind of wisdom only a survivor can. Listen, Hoda told her firmly. I know a lot of people who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, and the thing we all have in common is, we're still here. Clea has said she felt an immediate shift in that moment. The words landed deep inside her. They weren't just hopeful, they were a promise, a testimony that survival was possible. If Hoda said it, Clea thought, then I'm going to make it through. What followed was a grueling, relentless battle that tested every ounce of her strength. She endured months of chemotherapy, her body battered by the toxins designed to save her life. She went through radiation, 6 surgeries, and even a double mastectomy. Eventually, her ovaries were removed as part of her aggressive treatment plan. The physical pain was immense, but so too was the emotional toll. Every scar, every hair that fell out, every day spent recovering in bed instead of working or playing with her children. It all chipped away at the life she had known. And yet, throughout it, she clung to Hoda's words like a mantra. She remembered the feel of Hoda's hand squeezing hers, the certainty in her voice, the calm conviction that survival was not only possible but expected. By November 2022, Clea got the words she had prayed for. She was declared cancer-free. That announcement came like a sunrise after the longest night. She celebrated. She laughed again, and she allowed herself to believe she had reached the end of that horrific chapter. But cancer battles are rarely so neatly tied up. 2 years later, she underwent breast reconstruction surgery, hoping to restore some sense of wholeness after everything she had endured. For a brief time, it seemed like the worst was behind her. In November 2024, Clea celebrated what she thought was her final surgery, her 7th. She even described it as her last one, believing she could finally move on. But life had other plans. In January, she learned that the wound at her incision site had opened all the way to her breast implant. It was a shocking complication, one that forced her back into more surgeries and more recovery time. On Today, sitting across from Savannah Guthrie, Clea smiled with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. I'm still recovering, she admitted, but I'm healthy. Then she added words she refuses to take for granted. I'm cancer-free, and that's what matters. Her eyes glistened as she said it, her voice steady but tinged with relief. When Clea talks about her journey, she never fails to mention the words that carried her through. Hoda Kotb, who herself was diagnosed with breast cancer 18 years ago, knew exactly what Clea needed to hear. Back in 2007, Hoda discovered a lump and went through a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. She's been cancer-free ever since, but the memory of that battle is etched into her. And when she held Clea's hand and offered her that line of hope, we're still here, she was giving her more than encouragement. She was passing down the torch of resilience. Clea has since reflected on what reconstruction has meant to her. For some, she knows the endless surgeries might seem excessive, maybe even unnecessary. She told People magazine, "I have now lived 3 years with compromised breasts. At this point, I'm not looking to be in a bathing suit competition. But for me, there's a real need to put my body back together. It's an emotional need more than a physical one." Those words reveal a deeper truth. Cancer isn't just a disease of the body. It tears at your sense of identity, your relationship with yourself, and the way you see your reflection. Rebuilding, for Clea, is as much about healing her spirit as it is about repairing her body. Doctors have told her there's a 30% chance her cancer could return. That number hovers over her like a shadow. And she's realistic. She knows this isn't something she can put behind her completely. "I know I will continue to battle this coming back forever," she said candidly. But instead of fear, she speaks with a quiet strength. She explained, "I didn't know that I could handle so much." That revelation, discovering strength in the midst of suffering, is at the heart of her story. Cancer stripped her of control, of certainty, of the comfort of routine. But it also revealed resilience she never knew she had. It showed her the power of community, the value of support, and the profound impact of a few simple, well-chosen words. On that September morning on Today, promoting her new memoir Cancer is Complicated, Clea looked like someone who had walked through fire and come out scarred but unbroken. She laughed with Savannah Guthrie. She spoke openly about the hardest parts of her journey. And she reminded viewers that behind every headline and every celebrity story is a human being fighting battles invisible to most. Her relationship with Hoda Kotb became a symbol of survivor solidarity. Two women, both public figures, bonded not over fame or career, but over the terrifying vulnerability of facing mortality. One reached back into her past pain to offer reassurance. The other carried that reassurance like armor into the future. It's a chain of strength that continues as more women face this disease. Clea's story isn't wrapped in easy inspiration. She doesn't sugarcoat the surgeries, the setbacks, or the constant fear of recurrence. But that's what makes it real and what makes it powerful. Her words, her honesty, and her willingness to share every messy, complicated detail remind others that cancer is not a neat storyline. It's a marathon of uncertainty. And yet, through it all, there are moments of light. Moments like the one when Hoda Kotb leaned in and said, "We're still here." Today, Clea Shearer is not only cancer-free but also carrying forward that message for others who might one day hear the same terrifying diagnosis. She knows her journey isn't over, but she's walking it with courage, with humor, and with the memory of that hand squeeze from a friend who proved survival is possible. Because sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't found in a hospital or written on a prescription pad. Sometimes it's found in the words of someone who has already made it to the other side, offering a promise that life goes on, even after cancer tries to steal it. And for Clea Shearer, those words weren't just comforting, they were life-saving.